Ladies and gentlemen, Drew and Tim will have you believe that because the Patriot Act was passed with haste, it cannot be understood or well thought through. I find this to be a fallacy of reasoning. I also find the foot-in-the-door policy or the snowball effect to be a fallacy. There's no proof that just because something is happening, that it'll continue to happen and increase in dramatic effect. Additionally, Tim and Drew have been unable to prove that any complaints about the Patriot Act have been followed through completely, and I challenge them to present a solid example of such violations of rights. Tim also discussed this regular citizen and how the regular citizen shouldn't be surveyed. Well, I ask you, who should then? Aren't we all regular citizens until we commit a crime? Without surveilling normal people, we'll never know who's likely to commit crimes. Drew and Tim would have you believe that wiretapping is easy and is done all the time. They also believe that warrantless searches are easy and done all the time. And they believe that both of these violate the right of privacy. However, the standards of surveillance have not been drastically altered since 1993. And if information is public, and if you're convicted of espionage or violating US law, they can keep your information, but that's the only time. Citizens are the main threat to our country right now because they're coming from inside, and we need to monitor our own people to make sure that we're safe, as Ariel brought up. The technology is drastically different than ever before in our country, and with new technology comes new threats. The National Security Agency is working on Project Trailblazer and Project Groundbreaker, two things that would help digitalize our signal intelligence. This would help us monitor our own people, monitor what people are saying outside. The Patriot Act isn't the only thing that's working to make our country stronger. Additionally, many of the things in the Patriot Act have already been used for drug crimes, for organized crime, for racketeering, for things as simple as passport fraud or mail fraud. This is nothing new. The US has to be ready to track terrorists that are trained to evade detection. That's why a roving wiretap is necessary. That only means that we can follow you on whatever technology you use. In an age of cell phones and computers, this makes sense. Additionally, Drew and Tim have discussed reasonable delay, where you don't let terrorists know that you're onto them right away. Although they are always notified eventually, this allows us to secure our own people, make sure we know who the allies are, and avoid the most damage that we can. Private information is not kept by the government if you've done nothing wrong. Drew and Tim seem to believe that the Patriot Act destroys our rights, when really it helps protect them. By keeping our persons safe, by preventing loss of life, and by ensuring that our citizens are our citizens rather than people working against us, we're safer than ever before. This isn't a step beyond what we've done before. This is just building upon new technology. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take 30 seconds. Okay. All right. So, do you think it's possible that? Or should I restart there? First of all, do you think a warrant is necessary in a criminal investigation?
In a criminal investigation?
Yes.
Under what circumstances?
Any?
Yes, I think whenever possible, warrants should be obtained.
Okay. Do you think the government can overstep its bounds at certain times?
I believe that any organization run by people is capable of overstepping its bounds.
Okay.
Yes.
If they were to overstep their bounds, should the perpetrator be punished, or should the problem be fixed in some way?
Yes, I agree that if the government has overstepped boundaries, action should be taken to ensure that that does not happen again.
Okay. Earlier when you were talking, you said that wiretapping was easy. How is this easy? Can you define that?
I was just saying that you and Drew seem to believe that wiretapping is a very easy way to track people. And that's true. New technology makes it easier to wiretap than ever before, but it's not something done lightly by the government. It isn't an easy thing to decide to monitor people. It takes too much time, energy, resources. It's not an easy thing to do.
All right. Another question I'd like to ask is, While you're talking, when you mentioned warrantless possibilities, what can you define that also?
Warrantless possibilities?
Yes, I mean the criminal investigation with no warrant is involved.
Sure.
Did I hear that correctly?
Sure. Well,
Okay.
there are times when warrants will be delayed, and that is when it allows us to assess the danger to immediate people. Like if you suspect a terrorist is going to bomb Denison right now, you might not want to inform them that you have a warrant because you want to secure your people and make sure you know where all the terrorists are before you act. This just helps prevent loss of life or damage.